Hi there. I want to talk about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing because honestly, I'm tired of typing on Facebook. And I'm not arguing with people, I'm trying to give them a little bit of education. And quite honestly, my opinion, nobody's opinion really matters except for the 12 jurors. Someone can blatantly do something illegal. And if it goes to a jury trial, the jury can still decide to let them walk. That's a justice system. Okay. So when people say, hey, your opinion's wrong, your legal opinion, your belief on that 17-year-old doesn't matter because facts of the case point a certain direction. I disagree with that. And I'm going to just get it off my chest so I don't have to explain it 100 times over and over. This will be on YouTube forever. So, a little bit about what I know about gun law and about Wisconsin and what I've looked up personally as the law, because the law is public knowledge. And if you don't know the law, the justice system, the government doesn't care if you don't know it, because ignorance of the law doesn't give you a free pass. Okay, if you don't know that it's illegal to park in a no parking zone and you park there, you're not going to just get off because you didn't know that you can't park there. Okay. So the law, first of all, the law that I've looked up is on when is it okay for a minor to carry a firearm in the state of Wisconsin. And the law says that a minor can carry a firearm on approved hunting grounds, public or private, when they have a qualified adult with them. Okay. It does not say that they can carry it on the street by themselves. Okay, it doesn't say that. Okay, apparently the defense found something that said that if the gun has a barrel over 16 inches, then it's okay to carry it in public. I've lived in Wisconsin my whole life. I've never seen a minor carrying a 18-inch barreled rifle on the street. And Kyle Rittenhouse is the first one that ever done that. Okay, I find it hard to believe that it's legal for you to walk on the street with a gun, but it's not legal for you to walk on hunting grounds without an adult. Okay. But apparently, okay, and this is where I can be 100% wrong and admit it, but apparently it was legal for him to have that firearm. Um, he wasn't old enough to purchase the firearm, so he did not own it. Okay. But he did attain it from someone who lived in Wisconsin. Okay. So, first of all, let me just say this. If everybody there was armed, okay, the first person to point their gun is the one that is the threat. Okay, if everybody has their gun pointed at the ground or holstered, okay, even if it's unloaded, if you point your gun at somebody, and this goes for if they walk into your house in the state of Wisconsin, if they walk into your house and they're stealing your TV, you point your gun at them, and they don't seem to be having a weapon pointed at you at that time, okay, or if you're, 200 pounds and the other guy is 100 pounds, and it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to choke you to death. Okay, you're going to be the aggressor. That's the way it is in Wisconsin. And it's called the castle doctrine or the castle law. You can't protect your property, and you can't protect anybody's property in the state of Wisconsin with a firearm. Kyle did admit that he pointed his gun at somebody, uh, and he of course he said it in a way that, oh well, I just happened to like have it sort of pointed at that person, but, maybe, I didn't point it and aim it to shoot him, okay? Okay, well, still doesn't matter. You're not supposed to do that. It's a firearm. The other person was setting blaze to a car. You still can't point your gun at him. And he did, and he admitted it. Jury can decide that doesn't matter, okay? Jury can decide that it doesn't matter that it was past curfew, and the judge can decide that too. All these decisions heavily weighed in his favor. And then the guy who was Rosenbaum, who was threatening to kill him. He said I guess everyone said that he was threatening to kill him. Okay. Let me just give you an example. There's a woman that I was good friends with, and she was a nurse, and she worked at a mental hospital. And she said every day one of those patients would tell her that they were going to kill her, strangle her, beat her up, tell her she was ugly and stupid and a piece of shit and a whore and everything else. And these people didn't have a full deck of cards. And I'm not sure if Rosenbaum had a full deck of cards or not either. But let me tell you something. If you have a firearm and someone is saying bad things to you and you point your gun at them, it really doesn't matter what they say to you. Okay? Did that nurse have the right to kill those patients if they said bad things to her? Well, of course not. No. But the jury said that it's okay for Kyle to shoot the guy who said those things to him. Okay. And when Kyle was pursued, the responsibility of someone who has the force and the weapon to kill, deadly force, they have a responsibility to avoid that outcome in every way possible. And let's say, for example, somebody walks into your house and they're going to steal your shit and you have a gun, okay? And you say, hey, get out. And the guy doesn't get out. And you say, hey, get out or I'm going to call the cops. And he doesn't get out. And you say, get out or I'm going to shoot you. And he doesn't get out. And then he says to you, I'm going to take your gun so that you can't shoot me. And then he goes for your gun, okay? And all he said was, I'm going to take your gun so that you can't shoot me. That's not an aggressive move, that's a defensive move. Now imagine if you pointed your gun at him, okay? That makes you the aggressor, and he's the person who's defending himself. Do I agree that that's the way it should be? I think that it should be that way because there are so many people who don't know how to handle a gun. Did Kyle know how to handle a gun? Well, he said on oath that he knows very little about guns and that he's never trained with guns and he doesn't hardly know anything about bullets or anything. Okay. So do I think that someone who doesn't know anything about guns should put themselves in a situation where they have a gun, the other person doesn't have a gun, and then they expose their deadly force and threaten someone with deadly force, that person should then be immune to any repercussions? No, I don't think that they should. I think that if you are going to have a gun, that you should be thoroughly trained in it. Because the way that the law works, to simplify it, they need to decide who is the aggressor. Now, if another guy, if Rosenbaum, also had an AR-15, you could consider them equal. The threat, the force is equal, okay? But if one guy points the gun at the other guy, and the other guy doesn't point the gun, and they end up in a scuffle, and the guy who points the gun shoots the guy who pointed the gun first is most likely not going to get the self-defense, okay, ruling. But the jury didn't care about that. Now, the actual firing of the gun happened in such a way where Kyle was getting chased. And being chased doesn't mean that you're going to die when you get caught. Okay. Now, did anyone else have guns? No. There was only one person who had a gun. He pointed the gun. He was being chased. Well, how did he end up shooting the gun? Did the Rosenbaum have a deadly weapon? Was he in the act of actually killing Kyle? Was he uh, obviously going to catch Kyle? I mean, jury didn't care. But what I did see many times over is when Kyle did shoot his gun, he did what's called a reverse prone stance. Now, a prone means laying down on your belly, you think. And you think of like a sniper or something on a rooftop or someone in some tall grass, he's being concealed, he's going to shoot. Well, that's prone, but reverse prone is when you maybe don't have any cover and you lay down on your back and you shoot maybe to the side, or you shoot between your legs, or you shoot up, or whatever, okay? These are tactical maneuvers that you train for. You don't think to do that stuff. And the fact that he was already being chased and he stopped, turned around, and shot his gun in the moment of being chased with a tactical move, like a advanced tactical maneuver. I mean, that also doesn't, in my mind, it's like saying like, oh, I don't know anything about guns, but I'm going to use an advanced tactical maneuver to shoot somebody who didn't have any. I'm sorry, but the jury didn't care. And then Kyle gets up and looks at the body that's probably already dead. And he has time to make a phone call. And he doesn't call 911 and say, hey, I'm on the corner of such and such in front of this business, such and such. My name's Kyle Rosenbaum. I had to shoot someone in self-defense. I'm putting a pressure on the wounds right now. Can you please send an officer, some EMTs over here? He didn't do that. An EMT would have done that. An officer of the law would have done that. Someone who did that by accident would have done that. Instead, what Kyle did is he called his buddy who was involved in setting up the situation where Kyle could have a firearm and told this guy something, and then Kyle ran away. And the clock ticks by before anybody even really realizes that this guy's on the ground dead or who did it. And it's heard in the audio that someone says, who did this? Who shot him? Someone says, someone was shot? Where'd he go? And at that point, Kyle's already running away, fleeing the scene. Nobody else was chasing him. It took a good 15 seconds before anyone decided to chase after him. And why did they chase after him? Did they chase after him because they had already made in their mind that they wanted to kill him before he killed Rosenbaum? Or was it because he killed Rosenbaum? Jury didn't care about that. So Kyle's getting chased, and again, he's being chased, and on his own accord falls down and immediately does the reverse prone stance and shoots a guy. Okay. And then he gets kicked in the face, and then, someone else comes up to him finally with a gun. And the guy doesn't shoot Kyle. He doesn't shoot him from 10 feet away, doesn't shoot him point blank, doesn't even fire his gun. He was trying to stop this guy from shooting another person because he already shot two. Okay. Jury didn't care about that either. And then Kyle doesn't go to police, hand him the gun, and say, I just shot two people. Kyle goes home. At that point in time, a number of people already told everybody in the area on social media that Kyle Rittenhouse shot two people and ran away. After those posts go online, then Kyle calls the police. and tells him that, hey, I did this. Okay. And that's with race aside. That's with the color of everyone's skin aside. That's with Black Lives Matter aside. With all the political things aside. That's apart from the reason the people were on the streets, okay? Because I just want to make sure that you understand that. This, but then if you want to go to the point where, well, okay, let's talk about race. Okay. Kyle did just do an interview with Fox News. Wouldn't have been the first choice for somebody who did it on accident. Someone who wants to empower the idiots of the nation would go on Fox News, and that's what he did. Goes on Fox News, and he says that he supports Black Lives Matter, and that, and he's mad about all the political agendas of people who held an opinion on what happened. And then Tucker, after this interview, and by the way, Kyle was very smooth in his conversation about this. And let me tell you something. When you watch someone talk about something, and you watch their eye movement, you listen to the tone of their voice, you listen for any emotion, generally, someone who is truthful and authentic is not going to be monotone and non-emotional about these things. And Kyle in the interview even says, I don't feel emotion about these things. Okay. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not someone who detects lies or any of that stuff. But and even so, that struck me as strange because it reminded me of other people who have talked about things like this and were very calm about it. And let me just say that's an observation. Okay, and as I was saying, then Tucker after this interview says, well, what if we changed the roles and made Kyle Rittenhouse a black man? And all the rioters were black. Okay? And the police, I don't know if he said if the police were black or not or whatever. He's like, let's try and spin it around. He says that if it were all a black man and black victims, then it wouldn't have had as much national attention. Okay. Well, he didn't really go very far with that. He didn't say, what if Kyle was black, the protesters were black, the police were black, and it wasn't a Black Lives Matter rally. It was a white supremacist rally, a Proud Boys rally, a rally that was for racism and for shooting people, okay? He didn't say that, but if that were what was going on, then I think, yeah, people would have it on the news and be like, holy crap. Okay? But we're not going to do that because that's not what happened. And that's a reality of the situation. You know, just imagine if it was a white supremacist rally, a white supremacist protest. It wasn't that. It was a protest against police brutality, against shooting black people, against white people shooting black people. Okay? Now, I'm a white guy, and I also have Hispanic blood in me, but I was raised in the white community. And let me tell you something. When I'm accepted into friendships in the white community, just about every white person I know, in their truck, in their home, watching TV, you know what they say? They say the N-word. They say, let's shoot them all. Let's say they're lazy, they're bad dads, they're this, that, and the other thing. They're all in prison. You know, they say black people should just change their mindset and they wouldn't get shot in the street by cops. Okay, that's what white people say. Overwhelmingly, generally, all of them do. All of them. Every single one of them. Whether it's a leader in the community, a cop, a teacher, all of them. Every single one of them. Okay? I had influence in my life to not say that word. Okay? And being half Hispanic, it does hurt me a little bit when people are racist. Now, the difference between me, and white other people is that I have consciously put myself in situations where I could make friends with someone who's black. Because I feel a little bit of their pain. Okay? I know that I've gotten some raw deals with my last name, my first name. They're not necessarily, it's not Jim Smith, okay? So when someone is racist against someone who has an African name or a Mexican name, immediately I can see that they're racist. Okay? Now, when a white kid purposely takes a gun to a place where nobody else has a gun, where he knows that there's going to be violence, and nobody else gets killed, nobody else died that night, except for who he shot. But for some reason, he thought that if I take my gun and I go out there, I can use it. I can use it. And there won't be no repercussions. I can use self-defense. Okay? Now, the reason it's so crazy to think that a black guy can go out there and do it is because I've seen it. I've seen white people point guns at black people for no reason. And I don't even live in a black community. I'm nowhere near it. But I've seen it with my own eyes more than once. And I have friends who are black, and they said, yeah, happens all the time. And I believe them. But when I hear a white guy say, doesn't happen, it's all justified, I don't believe it, because I've never seen it that way. I've never seen it justified. But when a black person does something wrong, yeah, they should be punished. And when a white person does something wrong, yeah, they should be punished. But here's the thing, when a white person does something wrong to a black person, they don't get punished. Historically, in the entire life of the United States, I can say with full honesty, white people shooting black people, that goes unpunished. And I hope and I pray that more people pull out their phones and film the police and film these militants going out there with their guns and self-defensing people. And here's my opinion, because those are not opinions, that's fact. That's truly fact. And don't say, that's your truth. That's not my truth. Well, I don't give a shit. Like, you're never going to change my mind or anybody's fucking mind by what these fucking racist white people say. Ever. You're never going to change it. To even try to convince somebody who's seen violence against their community unjustifiably without seeing justice ever, you're never going to convince them. And they see you as nuts. Because it is nuts. You're asking somebody, and your argument is that you want them to lie and say that it doesn't exist daily. It's not going to happen. It's never, ever, ever going to happen. My opinion is, film the police. Film them all. Get them all on camera. As soon as you see one interact with anybody, film them. Get them. Because you're not going to be able to fight back in a war. We don't want to do that. I don't think that anybody who has a mindset of let's progress, not regress, let's progress this nation, you're never going to see them load up on guns and just start shooting white people or shooting cops. They're not about that. Because then they're going to be just like you. You're just going to be like racist people who think you can shoot somebody for no reason. Okay? I know that Kyle said that he supports the Black Lives Matter movement, but, let me tell you, man, I seen his TikTok picture that brought up in court too. And let me tell you, hey, Tucker, let's switch it. Let's switch his race there. You'd say, hey, this is a militant black man who supports having four doors, and four doors. His the name of his profile was Four Doors More Whores. Oh, well, that's a black man, and he's a pimp, and he gets whores, and he has a four-door car, obviously, so he can fit more whores in there. Like, come on, man. And then you know what his little saying was at the bottom of the just trying to get famous. Well, yeah, you went out there with a gun to hopefully self-defense somebody, just trying to get famous. That's what you did. That's literally what you did. It's not legal. Okay, it's not legal to do that. You can't just go looking for shit. Okay, I've heard somebody say, "Look, what if I jumped into the bear enclosure at the zoo?" You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. Why? Because those bears are going to eat you. But then you got somebody who's like, well, I got my gun. I'll just self-defense myself. Self-defense them. Well, you're going to find violence. You're going to find shit out there. You don't go looking for it, man. My advice to you, if you really, truly want to carry a firearm, okay, train with it. Get good at it. Because I'll tell you what, the safest way for somebody, and I say this more to minorities. I don't say it as much to white people, because white people have a much greater chance of getting off. But I say this primarily to minorities. If you can legally carry a gun, and it seems like in Kyle's case, it doesn't matter if it goes to jury trial, because you might get off anyways, maybe, but get good at it. Because you, as a black man or a Mexican, okay, or anything other than Kyle Rittenhouse, EMT nurse, okay, you're going to go to prison or you're going to get shot on the spot. So your best bet is to not shoot anybody. Not even reveal a gun until someone is pointing a gun at you. And you got to know that you didn't do nothing wrong. And then defend yourself. Because in any other situation, like Kyle had, you're going down. That's the reality of the situation. I don't see it not happening, at least not in the past. In the future going forward, I hope so. I hope that we, as minorities, we can defend ourselves. I hope that happens someday. Imagine if all those guys who got harassed and lynched and drugged behind pickup trucks and hung and everything else, if you know that you don't deserve it, I want you to defend yourself. I want you to be able to, because it breaks my heart to see it happen. It breaks my heart, man. I had a buddy, I was working with him. I had him go outside, working on the church, had him go outside, move a table from one work area to another. Cops were driving by, saw him, they said to each other, cops, hey, I got a black guy, okay, and I'll tell you why it was a black guy. I got a black guy, and it looks like he is moving a table, but it looks like he's stealing a table, okay? We'd been working there for months. He called up his buddies, his cops, and he said, okay. He went, I seen him going to church. Okay, you go in that entrance, I'll go in this entrance, he goes in that entrance. 3 entrances, 3 cops. Go in there, he's inside, I'm up on scaffold. Nobody can see me. He's walking in, getting ready to do the next project. Cops following him in, guns drawn. I yell down, hey, did you move that table for me? Now get to work. I saw the cops in there. I knew that if my friend made any attempt to do anything, even though he didn't even know that they were in there for him, that he would have been shot dead. Or he would have been handcuffed and hauled away for moving a table and being black. I might have saved his life that day. That's the real world. That's not a lie or what I think or what I hope or what I'd like to make other people think. That happened. That really happened. Okay? And when I see videos of the same exact thing, and there's nobody there to save that man, that black man, to justify to those white people that what he was doing is just fine, and I'm a witness to what you're about to do. Those people who don't have that, guess what? They're going to prison or they're dead. Okay? And I'm not saying that black people don't do bad things. They do. Especially the desperate ones. You know. But I'm just saying, man, you aren't fooling anybody, you aren't convincing anybody when you say, no, Black Lives Matter is racist. No, they're not. Shut up. Nobody's going to believe you, ever, in a million years. Nobody's going to change their way of thinking about the situation in America. They're not. Ever. Until it actually changes. Until we go 10 years without an unjustified killing of a black person on a video. Okay? They're not going to believe it. It's not going to happen, ever. So have a happy Thanksgiving.